Jericho Cruise!
Welcome to That Wrestling Podcast.
We fucking made it!
Ahoy, mateys! Welcome to That Wrestling Podcast. Of course, you've seen the thumbnail, you've seen the title of the show. This is the Jericho Cruise 5 Alive recap, me and Kevin. And yeah, man, welcome back. And Kevin, did you have the waves when you were walking off the day after? It's where you still think you're on the boat, moving,
yes,
rocking back and forth.
Walking the airport yesterday, wave walking, showering this morning before work, wave walking during lunch. Sometimes I do that just to get some exercise. Wave walking, like even I hope it's gone tomorrow, but it just kept me the memory of, damn, that trip was damn awesome. And it kept on going in my head like, okay, it still feels like I'm kind of on the ship when I'm walking, but it almost feels like, are people seeing me swaying back and forth? They thinking I'm drunk at work? But no, yeah, those things are real. And I Googled it and it's a real thing.
So to give you a little bit of a timetable here, we are recording on Wednesday night. We got off the boat yesterday, Tuesday morning. And, in recent years, I just threw a highlight reel together. And then I was in one, I didn't do one. And so it was nice that one of the guys from the show was on the boat with me. And what's really cool, I think about what this video is going to be. Yeah, there's going to be some photos and there's going to be some videos, but it's going to be a lot of us talking about our experiences on the boat. And what I think is really interesting is I've been on the Jericho Cruise 4 times. This is Kevin's first Jericho Cruise and ever cruise.
Yeah.
Before we get to the boat, we both got to Miami on Thursday. I'd been there. This is obviously my 4th time in Miami, but Kevin, have you ever been to Miami? And can you give me a little bit of your thoughts on Miami?
Never been to Miami, been to all the touristy places in Florida. So I guess I checked another one off the list. But we were there only a day before. And Laura, my wife, we love breweries. So that was the first thing we saw or looked forward to, research in Miami. We're like Miami breweries, South Beach, across the bridge, more, I guess you say, not South Beach, North Beach, would you call it that? And there was 3 main ones, but we wanted to see what South Beach was all about with the ocean. So we had to put our feet in the sand, which was absolutely beautiful. Choppy water. For some reason, I was thinking just the calmest water. It was but the best thing about it, it was warm because we left snow.
Mm-hmm.
That was my highlight. But I don't want to just talk about me, but they have some amazing breweries in Miami. We made a brewery crawl. Each stop we had 2 to 3 beers each. So we were each probably had 7 pints of craft beer. And you have a couple pints of craft beer and you're switching IPAs, lagers, blonde ales. You're just going to feel it. And after 7 of them, we were feeling great because we just were so amped because we know what we were getting to the next day.
So then Friday morning, we get on the boat. The boarding process was fairly easy.
Simple.
6-man, the promoter that does this, they do all the themed cruises. So they got their act together. And Kevin, you guys got there before us.
Mm-hmm.
And then we saw you guys and then we met up before. What were your thoughts on once you got on the boat? Because the way these cruises work, and if anybody was there, they know. The first thing you do is you get a high five, you get your lanyard, and then you go right to the bar and have some beers. We had I can't even remember. Was it Brock beer or Bach beer?
We'll just call it Brock Bach because I truly don't know. Okay. Brock. Question I have for you, because I don't know this answer. So when you got on, you mentioned the different colored lanyards. They had 5 since it was the 5th one, 5 Alive. Mine was a first timer. Right. Yours was the 4th. So that was known as, was it main event?
I was main event. And then my wife was the 3rd, but I don't remember what her title was. And I don't know what the second one, but yeah.
I think the second one was popcorn match. And then 5th one might've been, I don't even know. If you're going to all 5, you're in the Hall of Fame of lanyards at this point. But it was very cool. It made you feel special because you can see mine was white, visually white. And you could see immediately everyone else was wearing white. You kind of felt a connection to them. So you could be if you were having fun, you'd be dude, isn't this freaking amazing? Because everyone else with different colored lanyards, you knew what was going on, right? You walk into the boat and anyone, and we've never been on a cruise. my wife and I, never been on a cruise. And just going up to the boat, you're just like looking at this thing and it looks so freaking huge. And
It's a floating city.
there's some big ass cruise ships compared to this one, but this one's like middle of the fleet, of the Norwegian brand. And I'm not underselling it at all. It's huge. But once you get on it, it does feel like a nice, tight knit city. But yeah, we got a high five from six man Betty. Shout out to her. Amazing. And everyone's just so smiley. It's like infectious. It's energetic. Like you're like, okay, I want to be here. They want me to be here. Everyone else wants to be here. Let's go get that beer.
Yeah. So
That's exactly what we did.
We had lunch and then we had some beers and then we walked around the boat. And the first event was Fozzy. Now we've both seen Fozzy before in different venues and settings, festivals, clubs, big stages, whatever. What was your thoughts seeing Fozzy on a cruise ship and then taking off?
Yeah.
While they were on stage.
That's the coolest thing. So I've only seen him one time before them, was in a festival setting, middle of the day in one of like several day festivals. So I would estimate maybe 30,000 people around me. This is intimate. Like people up top looking down, sitting in hot tubs, sitting in pool, watching Fozzy, sitting in bars, sitting in different areas. I would say, when I say the pit area, it's not like people are moshing because people were pretty respectful. But like the closeness, and we were kind of like middle of the way pack, and I would say,
and we had a table, which was great.
Like 30 yards back, like nothing crazy. I still can't sing all the words to Judas. But
I was going to ask you if you knew all the words yet, but no.
But
I mean, as many times as we saw them over the weekend play, I'd have figured by now you would have known the words. I mean, hell, this is going on.
I know
4 or 5 years now, Kevin. You still don't know the words to Judas.
I sing the best chorus there is, though.
That's up.
I do.
So then after the Fozzy show, for the people that signed up in the first 400 cabins, you got to go to an exclusive Q&A. It was hosted by RJ City, and a great joke he started off with. Let's go to the video.
So happy to be here on the cruise and in the Stardust room. They were telling me this used to be called the Cody Rhodes room. But apparently it took too long to finish that story.
That's rough, man, to say that joke. It's fun. One, funny.
You heard the people. You heard the people in the crowd yelling "traitor," which was insane. But great little Q&A.
Yeah.
And these questions were written down, predetermined, pulled out, for that. But that was fine. And that stuff doesn't really bother me that much. RJ City is one of those guys that I don't feel like he gets the love he deserves. Hey, EW on YouTube every Sunday is hilarious. Go back to the Christmas episode with Danhausen. You can go back to the one with Mariah May. But man, he was great. And he did not an ad lib. It was called RJ City's ad lib show, but it was like an improv show.
Improv, yeah.
We went and it was a lot of fun. And he's an amazing host. All the Timeless Tony stuff, if from what I was told was true, that's all RJ City.
Well, power to him then, even more, because he hosted several things during the entire cruise ship, like the Drunken Spelling Bee that was on one of the days too. We just watched a few things when we were upstairs getting some midday snacks from a lot of drinking. The improv, it was hilarious, and I'm going to set the scene since you mentioned it. It was Santino, Colt Cabana, Johnny TV,
Aubrey Edwards, Harley Cameron, and Prince Nana.
Shout out to Harley Cameron, who might be a top 5 AEW talent of me right now.
Oh, she went up the rankings are back for Kevin.
The rankings are back. One, so funny. The personality is what got, very beautiful woman, of course, but her personality, and so friendly, of course, and everyone on the cruise was so friendly. Mm-hmm. That's the plus thing. But during that improv, so funny. And she's very, for people who haven't seen her, very a chesty woman, right? And Taya, like, you're introducing yourself and she's saying, "Oh, I'm Taya and I have big boobs." And Harley comes up, "You stole my line. You stole it." Like, it was, I laughed so much during that thing. It was perfect.
It was an improv elimination game, essentially.
Yeah.
And I believe Cole Cabana ended up winning. Now, Cole Cabana, his introduction was pretty good too. He just said, I'm Cole Cabana, and I share a checking account with my mom. And if you know, you know. Not getting into it. And then, on the boat itself, everybody was there for the same reason. And, a lot of the wrestlers were just making their way around. And I thought we could just run through a couple of the people that we did see. Like we saw Lance Archer.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Also, the Guns, which you have a good story about the Guns. We'll get into that a little bit later. Hulk Hogan was there.
Yeah, you saw Hulk because I saw Bret Hart.
And Goldust as Goldust. Like, it's not even the natural. It's Goldust.
Yeah.
He was on the Jericho Cruise.
Full paint. Seth Rollins was there, throwing out how he was there for WWE Rumble was around the same time was crazy.
It was a great mix. And that's the good thing about the Jericho Cruise, because Jericho has said it many times. A lot of wrestlers don't want to do it. They don't want to be harassed by the fans. And look, I would say 99% of the fans respect these men and women when they're out, unless they're at an autograph signing or a photo session. Now, you could ask for photos, but I think everybody kind of respects the talent for what they are. And that's why I think this is a great cruise. This is it's a lot of mark out moments, Marky Mark and the Marks they're all in full force. But, as a first timer, Kevin, what'd you think about, like, did you want to bother people? Did you do that? Did you ask for pictures? Did you talk to anybody outside of the autograph sessions and photo sessions?
Yes. And I'll say yes and no. So it was kind of surreal. So like I've been a big Matt Cardona fan, right? From his Zack Ryder days. So I like seeing him in GCW, right? Multiple times. I've enjoyed seeing his outside of the WWE stuff, a lot of his indie stuff on the internet. So that was very cool. Like I never talked to him, having a conversation or anything, but one time, like we were just eating lunch and table right next, he just walks up, sits down, and cool. Like he's just there. And I turn and he looks at me and I'm just like, I gave him the head nod and he just head nodded back. So it wasn't like, hey, I'm going to bother you. I'm just like, okay, this is cool. So he could see me, I think, seeing like, okay, that's pretty awesome. Because my eyes, I know, got big. Probably like really in my mind, I want to be like, dang, I want to go eat lunch with him. But the real Kevin said, oh, give him the head nod, play it cool.
As we learned in Detroit, the head nod, if you don't know the person, it's a nod down. If you know him, it's a heads up. Was it an up or a down head nod, Kevin?
Well, he was like looking down, so he went like he did do the.
So he gave you the up nod, so he knew you.
He was honestly, I saw him a lot, and he was taking photos. Hobbs might have been the nicest guy on the entire ship. I feel like I saw him. I turn a corner, he was there. I walk forward, turn another corner. Somehow he's there.
Well, he's so huge. He is everywhere. Literally,
everywhere.
I had one Hobbs experience. It was in the Bliss Lounge. There was no one there. They were getting ready to set up for karaoke, and I was just sitting there having some drinks by myself. And he came in. He ordered like 3 shots of Patron. There was a woman hitting on him pretty hard. Big shocker. And I looked and I said, "Man, you like the good stuff?" He goes, "Hell yeah. Oh yeah." And then that was kind of the end of it. And it's those types of interactions that I think that make it fun for the hardcore fans. And even if the fans aren't like hardcore, I'm sure that somebody overdid it. I'm sure, at least one talent on that boat had to be like, "Yo, back off, bro." I'm sure that happened, but it was just one of those things. Now, the one thing you're not going to get on this video is footage of wrestling. I started realizing, look, this wrestling is for these people only. So if you want to see footage from matches, you're going to have to go somewhere else because there's no footage of matches. But Friday night, we went to Hibachi. And last year was the first time I did Hibachi. And I loved it. It was so much fun. And I'm like, Kevin, you guys got to come. You got to come to Hibachi. We got to go. We got to go. And then finally you guys said, all right, we'll go.
You have the guy with the big top hat. It's very showmanship. It's basically professional wrestling Promo with food is what it comes down to. He's basically fighting the food with a huge sharp knife and flipping up eggs and catching them in his hat. This gentleman that we had, I wish I would have gotten his name. I would have wrote it down. He was probably the best hibachi chef I've ever had in my life because the personality was there.
Have you done it a lot?
We do it on Christmas Eve.
Oh.
That's our Christmas Eve tradition.
Yeah.
Since we don't want to go home.
Yeah, so they cook and they sing, and I wish I had the footage, but I don't, of him flipping the piece of chicken and you catching it.
Yeah, that was.
My friend John, he went to dinner with us too, and he caught it.
Yeah.
And I don't want to I do have footage of Laura, but I'm not putting it on here because I don't want to, that she's not in, she doesn't want to, I don't want her to be a part of this because she's not there to agree and have consent. But hibachi was great, and goddamn, the food. I think, they do a bunch of fried rice and
a lot of fried rice.
A lot of fried rice, like 2 cups full of. So I was just eating because you've been drinking all day, so it's like let's get some real food. And so I had I think I got steak and chicken. What'd you get?
Steak and chicken.
Oh, you did too.
Yeah.
I could not finish my meal.
No, and
so much food. It's so good.
If I have food in front of me, I'll usually finish it. And if people leave food and there's like fries on someone's plate, I'm not gonna lie, usually I'll finish their food at times too.
Dude.
I couldn't eat all my food. I mean, I felt bad because the food was so good. It was probably double the amount of food that any one human should eat in one sitting.
I think 3 of us could have had the servings that each of us got. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it was that was probably some of the best steak I've had, just with the flavor and the massive amount of lard, or because it was like brown butter, so I'm guessing it was lard. But it was everything because he kept on calling it Asian ice cream. But it was awesome. I felt like I needed a nap, but we didn't go to bed after that because we went at 8 and we were out of there maybe like 9:30. Yeah, it's time to go drink.
It was time to drink, and then bands. So let's get into some of the bands. We talked about Fozzy.
Yeah.
The Foo Fighters, the greatest Foo Fighter tribute band in the land, were awesome. And then I have it written here to be funny, but I know this isn't their name. But I know you know their name. Who? The band, the Dr. Chicken Finger Flinger Band. What was the name of their what was the real name?
Brian Fox and the Good Chickens.
So this was a country rock hybrid band.
Yeah.
Your wife actually is connected to the singer through their shoot jobs, their legal professions.
Yeah.
And midway through the concert, it started raining chickens. Not rubber chickens like they got thrown at Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania last year. They were like balloons that were made to shape like chickens. And then it just turned into a chicken finger fight.
Like a chicken finger
fight.
Yeah.
So like they were a great band. And I know you're not really a country guy, but
it was awesome.
They were a good band.
That was kind of like a show as well. Like hibachi, fun entertainment, seeing food. This great music might not be my sense of music, but it's like you're on the cruise. You're feeling everything. You want to just have fun. And I think at that point I was probably like 10 beers deep in. So I was feeling damn good. So like people were walking on the balcony. So like where the concert was, there's a balcony and you're like trying to fling chickens at people walking by. We're trying to get them up the ceiling.
Kevin,
I was trying.
We're trying to fling up to the balcony.
Oh, I had a good shot too. I was hitting people in the face when they were walking by. A dude in a wheelchair. I think one landed on his lap. Those chickens knew no one was good enough to not get hit by a chicken.
And it was so ridiculous that it made it fun.
1,500. He posted. He brought 1,500 chickens.
So probably every performance,
500 chickens.
They threw it down.
Insane.
Amongst the Giants was there. Now, I only caught a little bit of their set. I don't really know a lot about them, but I have listened to them on Spotify on the airplane, and I really like those guys. And then I believe, what was the other one? Nocturnal Affair, I think is their name.
So I only caught like one song when we were walking by and getting a beer. They were
Mhm.
pretty good, like kind of like harder rock, a little bit aggressive, but not too much shouting. I wish I would have checked them out. I definitely have to check them out though.
Yeah, they're another one too that there's so much to do.
Yeah.
There's so much going on at the same time. You just have to pick and choose. So,
Mhm.
Trickster, the Bullet Boys, and then I've been singing the praises of Guardians of the Jukebox for a year now. That is Rich Ward from Fozzie's 80s cover project. They played 3 shows, and the first night they played, I think, around midnight.
Yeah.
And I stuck around for, I don't know, 4 songs. Kev, you and Laura stayed what, to like 2 in the morning?
We stayed, I think they played 12 or 13 songs. We were there till first night we were out till 2:30 in the morning. Absolutely amazing. Like I even told Laura, I'm like, I don't actually think they're singing or musical instruments. It has to be a recording just because of how amazing it sounded. Like
But for the
it's
record, they are singing.
they
They are
100%,
playing.
100% they are singing. They're just perfection at
Yeah.
what they do. Two
That's a good
bassists.
word. That is a good word,
Yeah.
perfection. Because you hear some cover bands, you hear flaws, and some cover bands like to put their own spin. Perfect is a great word to
Yeah.
describe Guardians of the Jukebox.
It's their party songs. They are the 80s classics of movies that we grew up on. You got some Journey, Madonna, Africa was in there. Like it was the
I Need a
Dirty Dancing.
Hero. That's the only song I kept hearing in my head after, because the female singer was amazing. Laura loved her.
I mean, she is what I would want like Lizzie Hale to be. I've never liked Hailstorm. I've never gotten into that rock band, but like she was a beautiful voice. Like you can tell she was like a rocker because like leather pants. The last night she wore like a leather dress. Like she looked the
Yeah.
like an 80s rock chick, and her voice was just it was flawless. And the guy, I think was it I can't remember
I
his
don't
name, but
know the names, but they
he
were so good.
well, you know the guitarist name.
I know Rich Ward, yes,
Yeah.
but the other guys, and it's I probably should have done better homework on
Who
that one.
might be the nicest rock star
Rich
I've
Ward,
ever
yes.
like never heard him talk ever in my life. And like he's just so generous of like this is a beautiful night, let's remember this, we got one more song, is this and he threw out the hard hand sometimes. He's just like, we love this Jericho Cruise. He's like, where else can you nerds hang out with us nerds listening to nerd music? Like it was cool, like always a smile on his face. Like it was awesome. But yeah, I danced for like an hour of the second night too, mostly because I was 15 beers deep at that point.
I wear my sunglasses at night so I can watch the vistas passing by.
So they played late every night, but then
Yeah.
after the one show, Kevin, I said earlier you had a fun story about the guns.
Yeah.
Guardians of the Jukebox ends.
So afterwards, we're feeling like sweaty. We're feeling like, let's go get a beer. I'm like, you want to go to the casino? It wasn't on my list at all on the cruise. I was like, I'm not going to go to the casino ever. No, no, no. So we go. I'm like, okay, let's just go. Let's get $100. Let's play some blackjack. I love blackjack. Right. Sit down at a table, playing for like a half hour, having a good time. Everyone leaves the table. And it's like me and this one guy. And I'm like, I told the guy, I'm like, I'm not playing 2-on-1 against the dealer or 1-on-1. I get up, turn around, Colton Gunn, Austin Gunn, Daniel Monet, otherwise known as previously in WWE, Summer Rae. I look, it's like star, 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 as in like where you put your chips to play. And there's an opening. And I'm like, I didn't even ask if it was open. I was just like, there's an open chair. I'm like, put my chips down and I sit down. 5 hours later,
Oh,
we
5
finally leave.
hours.
And I mean, I've always thought the Guns were very talented. I have a new love for that tag team. Like, I mean, just hanging out with them. Like, I mean, you got to the points where they were like, because I like to sit in the first position. I like to hold my own destiny for the table. Like, I know when people should hit, I know when people should stay. And there's times where Colton Gunn was like looking, and I'm like, dude, you have a 16. And he's showing like a 2. I'm like, do not hit that thing. And sometimes they were throwing out $400 or $500 on a bet, and I'm like,
Okay.
I'm $10. If you're feeling something, I'm like, you go with your gut, bro, because you're $500 bet. But no, he was like sometimes putting his arm around me. We're all cheersing. Someone got a blackjack. We would always like sing. Laura really wanted to do karaoke that night, and she even said, she's like, I'm giving up karaoke to be here, guys. And everyone's drunk. Everyone's drunk at the table. And they're like, I said, Austin, it might have been Colton. And he was like, oh, what song would you have sang? She's like, oh, I was going to sing Zombie. And he's like, oh, give me a little bit. She's like, Zombie. Everyone at the table was then doing it. Someone gets a blackjack. Zombie.
Oh,
All
so
6 of
funny.
us. At one time, there was like probably a crowd of like 20 people. Orange Cassidy was there. Vikingo was there.
That is such
uh,
a great story
Yeah, it was awesome.
for your first cruise. I mean,
And Laura's like, and I kid you not, Laura's like, I don't know if I can take a photo, but I'll be back. And she's just like across the table, like 10 feet away, taking a photo. Just like, I'm like going for a high five. You have a gun going for a high five, like in the middle of the frame. Like it was so cool. So the next day when I saw you guys, I was like, yeah, what'd you guys do last night? And you told us, and I'm like, yeah, we were at this casino till 4:30 in the morning
fuck, man.
playing blackjack with the guns. Like it was.
So there's a couple ways to go with this conversation. One, I've been on 4 of these cruises and I've made one friend.
Uh-huh.
You talked to so many people.
Yeah.
2, have you and Laura bought Gun Club t-shirts on Pro Wrestling Tees yet?
I need a gun club shirt. It's on my list. We both need gun club shirts. 2, I want to take the photo that Laura took me playing, and I'm going to make it on a t-shirt, somehow get to an AEW event.
Oh, there
Like,
you go.
they're going to come and I'm going to be like that. And then hopefully they'd be like, Zombie. But no,
Well,
like I'm like fanboying over it, because those are the type of things where it's like, those type of interactions. Now I'm a friend, or not. Fuck, I'm not their friend. Now I'm a fan. I mean,
well, so the next day we ended up, we made it to Cozumel, and we went to Senior Frogs, and the guns were there.
yeah.
And this happened. This woman, we did some shots. You can see in the video here, Kevin, she grabbed his head, flipped him around, had some fun with him. And then when it was my turn to do shots, this happened. So we didn't go there to eat. We kind of just went to kill some time before our excursion. And then they say, hey, we want to have a beer drinking contest. And I did the beer drinking contest.
You did. We both raised our hands.
Yes, I just beat you to the
Like,
punch.
You did. You were
I
like,
wish he would have let you do it for the sake of this. Right
exactly.
now.
Yes.
This is the footage. There is some, and I'll play it here in a second. Actually, I'll just play it right now.
There's 3 rounds you have to do.
Yeah, you had to do like sexy dance moves, which I don't
5
have.
of them.
5,
Poses.
which I did like 3, and then you had to do 5 push-ups. And then I was just like, all right. And then you had to drink the beer. And the beer was Dos Equis. Hold on. Let me do that again. The beer was Dos Equis. No bueno. Senior Frog, no bueno. You can see here I did not do well. I lost.
Oh, you kick butt though.
But it was fun. And then we did this dune buggy excursion into the jungle of Cozumel. As you can see, there's some footage here. This is me driving. And it's crazy because we had to go through town to get to the jungle. And then midway through the jungle, we switched. Now, Kev, you can attest. You saw me in the rearview mirror. I could not stop smiling.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was It was awesome. You couldn't stop smiling. I couldn't stop smiling. And when I got off, I was like, "Ooh, my teeth are like dark brown from the dust." That's
Oh yeah, a lot
peeking
of
up.
dust, a lot of mud flinging and stuff. But then here's you driving.
Yeah,
Um, it was one of those things when we signed up, we didn't know if it was going to be 2, 4. Like, we didn't know if you got paired up in the order you signed up.
yeah.
Luckily, because we were in a group together, we got to ride together.
Hmm.
So, was that Fast and Furious line? Ride together? No, that's Bad Boys. Ride together, die together. Bad boys for life. Yeah, so that was so much fun. I had never driven a dune buggy like that.
Yeah.
And then
Either have I. I driven like go-karts, not something that was that big. They look big. And we have a photo of us standing in front of it for, visual purposes, but kind of cramped in the back for someone who's 6'4". I
I
think
mean, it's cramped for me too, and I'm only
yeah,
5'11", but still, amazing experience.
awesome. Oh, it was so much fun.
Out of all the things that there were to do, I'm glad we did that. The Lucha show would have been fun from what I heard. It was like a Disney performance, every 2 hours. It's the same 4 guys in a 30-minute performance, which I'm sure would have been cool, but I really thought the Dune Buggy thing was pretty amazing.
It was very cool. And we did pick the right one because there's some where people even posted like, oh, not enough people signed up. Mine got canceled earlier in
Oh,
the
I
day.
didn't know that. I didn't know that.
It's probably the Amazing Race one or one of the nerdier ones. This was kind of more adventurous, except
I
for
did find out that the Guns did the dolphin experience.
oh, that would have been cool. That was a big group because that group walked by and it was like 40 people.
Because when
So
I got my photo with them in the photo session, I had asked them, I'm like, "Did you guys have fun at Senior Frogs?" And they were like, "Yeah, it was great." I said, "Oh, I was the guy that lost the beer drinking contest." And he goes, "Oh, I loved your sex moves." I was like, "Ah, he's so full of shit." But yeah, I was like, if it was just drinking, I would have won.
yeah.
No,
But your sex moves were awesome though.
no
Muy,
bueno. They were not.
muy bueno.
No bueno on my sex moves. No bueno on Dos Equis. And no bueno on me winning the drinking. And of course, I've never watched football with Kevin
Yeah.
before. Now, granted, with this podcast, we've only been around each other maybe 5 times in the last 3 years. 3 times with the boys. We went to the restaurant, O'Sheehan's, and there was a lot of Lions fans on the boat. I was kind of surprised by that, but
Yeah.
Kev, you just kind of held court.
Yeah. I get loud. And this is when the Lions were junky over the years to this year. The thing is, if I'm watching the game at home, I'm standing up in my living room the entire game. I especially the last like half of the season when we were on rolls, I just don't like to sit down. And
Right.
I stand up, Brett's standing up right next to me. Something good happens, we cheer. Something bad happens, we punch the dang chairs in our living room, both of us, because we get mad. But yeah, because it's like people are like, even I was wearing my Lions hat and they're like, "Oh, where are you watching the game?" I'm like, "Irish pub." I'm like, "I'm gonna find seats." I'm like, "If you're around there, man, come cheers me at some point." But it was cool because it was like there's a lot of people like clearing out from the first game and
Oh, yeah,
some
that's right.
seats
Yeah.
kind of like opened up like the parting of the Red Sea, and it was like boom, grab some chairs, more area opened up. Like we met the guys the very first night actually from the airport, we rode a shuttle to the hotel. Boom, he's like, "Man, I'm gonna find you and watch the Lions game with you." He was a big New England Patriots fan. He watched the game. This one random crazy old lady watched the game with us. Shit behind us kept on standing up. Whenever anything happens, I usually will open my front door at home, yell, "Go Lions," nothing more, quick and sweet, shut the door, go back. Something happens, boom, field goal, anything with points, open my front. And I'm talking, I yell on the top of my lungs to my neighborhood, close the door. I would do something similar at the bar, not as crazy. And I remember you even asking me, like, "Are you like this when you watch games at home?" I'm like, "Yes, I get into it." But
Now,
no, it's cool because there was fucking Buff Bagwell cheering on the Lions behind us
well,
while watching.
but Kev, I heard a rumor. Streets are talking.
Uh-oh.
Um, when the Niners started scoring, you kicked some people out of your table that weren't at the table when the Lions were winning. Is that true?
I forget. It sounds very true. I did. I was like, you guys to go. I didn't kick him out. His buddy came over. He's like, dude, since you've been sitting there, Lions have not scored. You got to come back to the bar. I'm very superstitious when I watch. That's the thing. I am. I will usually wear, as weird as this sounds, I wore the same Lion shirt for the last like 4 games of the season. I made sure I wore the same clean CLEAN blue boxer briefs every single game. Like basically the same outfit. It didn't work out, but if I was at home, I probably would have been extremely bummed. I will say that. But like I said, man, the cruise ship is infectious. You can't have many worse places watching a game of that magnitude of because I've never experienced that shit in my life. Last time I was like 10 years old. So I took the loss because Laura's like, oh, you're taking the loss a lot better. I'm like, one, I'm drunk. Two, I'm on a freaking cruise. Three, it's the Jericho Cruise, man. I'm like, it's fun.
So obviously didn't go the Lions way, and that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like there'll be other times.
Mhm.
Now, if this was Joe, I'd be like, fuck you, Joe. Yeah, Lions lost. Yeah,
I
but
think he would have taken it a little bit harder, like a little bit more.
well, according to the group chat,
Bummer
he's
hard.
wandering the desert in
Yeah.
Vegas. And I don't know if he actually went to Vegas or not, but we'll
Because
find
of the
out,
Super Bowl. Yeah.
find out sooner or later. But
He's walking home.
so Monday was just another day. We both got a little seasick on Monday,
Yeah, it was rough.
and then we ended up the Jericho VIP experience. My wife didn't want to go. So it was cool. It was one of those things where it was limited to 30 people and their guests, so 60 people. It was on the back pool deck, so it was outside, so it was nice weather. Little Q&A with Jericho, and he actually answered my question.
It was very cool. And he called you out. He's like, where's Jason?
Yeah.
And he asked, I think that might have been the only person he said, hey, where are you, Jason? Like, that was very cool.
Because I didn't want to ask a question like, what was your favorite match? Or what was, working with Chris Benoit like, or Dean Malenko or Lance Starr. I didn't want to do that because one, we know a lot of those stories already.
Mhm.
Now, the original question I wanted to ask has he ever done something or said something, pardon the pun, because he's Chris Jericho? That was the name of his YouTube show years ago, because I'm Chris Jericho. That his wife had to put him in check. Look, if you're married, there are times where you say or do something, your wife's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Had it happen today. And now a guy of Chris Jericho's statute, I mean, I imagine his wife is very strong to put up with a personality like Jericho. So I didn't ask that. And I'm glad I didn't, because my question was, what do you have any advice for a new color commentator? I just started working on the indies, and he gave me a really nice, to the point answer. Told me what to do, what not to do. Said that Bobby the Brain Heenan is probably the best ever.
That was the coolest part of the whole answer when he did the compliment to Bobby and said, hey, do it like him.
And he,
always put people over.
And like you said, Kev, now that you said it, I don't remember him calling me and asking where anybody else was.
No one.
So when the time came to, you were part of the VIP experiences, you get a belt.
Yeah.
I'll post the picture right here. And this is a great photo of me and Chris. I'm going to leave this up a little longer while I talk.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
I've met Jericho, I think 5 times now. Some on the boat, some on a book tour, early days of Fozzy on a tour bus when I worked in rock radio. I think this is a great photo, and I'm actually getting it blown up. And probably by the time this airs on YouTube, it might be behind me on this wall. But you were also given, of course, you can see in the photo, because I'm still keeping that photo up. You got a championship title, and these are one of 30 limited edition titles, and it was pretty awesome. So I originally, you were allowed to get one item autograph. So I got the AEW Chase Painmaker figure signed, but then I started noticing he was signing whatever people had.
Yeah.
And I feel bad, Kev, because had I known, I would have brought you something to get signed, but I didn't know.
It was just that experience was awesome. And honestly, seeing that belt live and seeing your smile, you got a big smile, dude.
Oh yeah.
It's a very nice smile. And seeing Jericho smile, you there with the belt, that was one of the coolest things of the whole cruise, too.
Yeah, so I got him to sign the figure. I got him to sign the title belt. And there was the final Fozzy show. Wrestling, like I said, we're not showing any video of wrestling. The main event was pretty ridiculous.
Pretty fucking ridiculously
Oh,
awesome.
okay.
It was so
Again,
awesome.
you can go look that up somewhere else.
Yeah.
We checked out the Vaudettes. And the last thing we did as a group,
Mhm.
we went to the stand-up comedy special. Brad Williams, Johnny LaCosto, and Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Yeah.
I had no idea Hacksaw did comedy.
And I'm glad that I found out that Hacksaw did comedy because it was freaking awesome.
So good. Telling old stories and,
Yeah.
just having a good old time. And I saw Jim before, I can call him Jim now. I saw Jim in the buffet before we left. And I said, Jim, I didn't know you did comedy. He goes, yeah, I've been doing it for a little while now. He goes, I've done it on like 6 continents. And I'm like, what? So now I got to go find out when Hacksaw's next stand-up special is, because I want to see that. So that was late Monday night. I went to bed. Wife went to bed. And then you did not go to bed. You
No.
went to see Guardians of the Jukebox again.
Before that, we missed a few songs because we went for an hour or so of karaoke. which-
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And that was packed. It was, I'm going to guess, a good at least 150 plus people in the karaoke. Private Party were on stage, Action Andretti, Dante Martin, Daniel Garcia, Michael Oku at one point. And they were not all on stage. Well, they were all on one stage at one time when one guy was doing, was it Biggie Smalls? What's the song? Big Papa. What's the actual song title called?
Big
That
Papa.
one. What is it called? That
Big
they were all just like hype man in the background. Like, I love it when you like doing like the choruses and stuff and like dancing. Hilarious. Harley Cameron, amazing voice.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing voice. Did Separate Ways by Journey. But it was a fun experience. And we were like, hey, you're gonna do karaoke, and Laura was gonna sign up and do Zombie. But the guy was like, just to be flat out honest, there's about 50 people in front of you. And Laura's like, let's go see Guardians of the Jukebox again. So we did Guardians of the Jukebox again. We watched them from the top level
Oh, it's Sheehan's.
because we needed food
Yeah.
bad. And Chris Jericho's like, went up there for a song with them. And he's like, guys, this is one of the best bands I've ever heard. Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, he said it wrong.
And he's like, jukebox. It was so, I turned right to Laura and I was like, did you hear that? She's like, yes, I did. And
Sorry, Chris.
but absolutely so funny, so funny. But once again, flawless, and the place was packed.
Yeah, man. So the end of the cruise was, it was a long 4 days.
Yeah. Well, I kind of have a fun story on the last day.
Go ahead.
So you mentioned we were both kind of feeling a little seasick, that I was supposed to get my photo, right? We weren't one of the first 400, but we were still in the pre-sale, so we still got the photo with Jericho. I just felt so seasick. We missed the photo, right? And the company puts it on 6-man, like I mentioned earlier. We were chatting, so professional. And if there's something that they can do to make up or do to try to make up for something, and when they say, hey, I'm going to see what I can do, you truly can feel if they're bullshitting you, you feel that they're going to do something, right? So they took our name, they took our room, they put Kevin and Laura Cox, 10105. That was the room that we were in. Never heard from them, right? So, but thankfully, with your VIP, I got a picture of Jericho. Throw that up. I'm not going to lie, I look pretty sexy too, holding that glass of champagne.
You do.
But later on that day, there's a big Facebook group, right? A bunch of crazies are on there. And one guy put, hey, does anyone have Matt Cardona trading card that I can trade in?
I saw that.
6-man Betty's like, I have extras. And she's like, anyone interested or need one, reach out to me. So I did reach out. I was like, hey, I have a 7-year-old son at home. If there's any, and I just put any available cards, right? I put any available that are sitting around not being used. She's like, come see me on your way out tomorrow. She's like, I'll have one for you, right? Like a pack.
Oh,
So
she had a pack. Okay.
today, so we stopped by guest services and there was right on the thing. And it just, I was like, hey, I messaged Six Man Betty and she's like, nope, I have it right here. And she's like, wait a second. We have another thing for you in the back. And I was like,
What
really?
is it? What
So
is it? You have it?
I do. It's right next to me. 36 signatures on the poster. I counted.
No way.
And it said on a big post-it, Kevin and Laura Cox, 10105.
No, that is awesome.
So yeah, like everybody, there's some that I have to like really look in here, but like the Mountie, Jerry Lynn, Powerhouse Hobbs, Missy Hyatt. I'm just reading them as I look in all of these. But it's like, so I'm gonna get like a frame, and I'm probably gonna move the diplomas because they really don't fit well with the wrestling stuff in the background. But this is a perfect example of like them. They probably, I'm guessing, probably walked around with 10 of those or 15 of those if somebody had anything go wrong. And believe me feeling seasick is not their problem, right? Me drinking 20 some beers that probably led to me feeling seasick, not their problem. Which when I got out of the room and actually started walking around, I was feeling so much better. So a little sunshine fell. But just that, like, that was amazing. Like the whole entire time, like leaving, I'm like,
Six Man is a great organization.
They're leaving me with the feels like of,
I want to go. I would love to go to one of the other 6-man cruises just to see how cool it is. Because I mean, obviously I know, but like the Jericho Cruise is going to be completely different from like the Bon Jovi Cruise or the Beach Boys or Pitbull or the Emos Not Dead Crew. Like it's one of those things where, I never even heard of this company until the Jericho Cruise.
When you have wrestling, comedy, and music, a little bit of everything, like that's what was nice about the Jericho Cruise. It was, hey, let's go check out wrestling. Boom, we saw the improv shit. That was awesome. Oh, let's go check out comedy. I didn't know. I thought I read that Hacksaw was going to do comedy, but I was like, oh, it probably is comedy featuring Hacksaw, not just comedy. Right. So it's like every musical band that we saw sounded fantastic. Every comedy thing, awesome. Wrestling, perfect. Like it was, honestly, I went there thinking, I was like, oh, I'll have like a 9 out of 10, right? I never put anything perfect because I don't think there is. But that experience and everything, I gave it a 10 out of 10. And I asked Laura on the way, I was like, what were you going in at? She's like, a solid 6.
Yeah. That's
because she's like, it's just more you. And I'm like, well, what did you leave at? She's like 10. She's like, it was amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Jericho said in the VIP thing about this cruise is like summer camp. You go, you have fun, you meet friends, except for me. I made one friend. And then you come back and do it again. The $1 million question, Kevin. Will you go back?
It's tricky. So they already released what the pre-sale gifts are.
Oh, they did. What are they? I didn't even know.
So it's trading cards again.
Okay.
But instead of the micro brawler, is it micro creature? It's like what I bought when we went to SummerSlam,
it's a stuffy?
It's a stuffy, like a wrestling buddy. Yeah. Of Jericho. Which I'm guessing maybe he's gonna hold a trident. But
yeah, because that's that logo for the 6 on the beach. So I don't know, man. Like I would love for the 4 of us to go, but I get it. It's going to be hard to do. And maybe one day it'll happen, maybe not. But the fact of the matter is we did it.
Yes.
We just talked about it.
Yes.
And if you were there and you're watching this, please hit us up. Leave your favorite parts in the comments. If there's something maybe we missed out that you guys experienced that we didn't, leave it in the comments, or you can hit us up on social media at That WrestlePod, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And obviously, you're watching this on our YouTube channel at That Wrestling Podcast. So subscribe, like. We're on the march to 4,000 subscribers, depending on when you watch this. And we would love for some of the fellow Ragers to help us reach the climax of 4,000, if you will. Thank you for watching. Kev, it was another great vacation.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe we'll do it again in the next couple years. Maybe 7. I don't know. I can't even think of a 7. Ocean 7 or and I don't know. Okay.
It's not going to stop. That's the thing. I think it sells out every year.
Yep. So 7, 8. God, I wish I would have prepped for a damn name for 7. Damn it.
The Ocho. That's what. That's what.
That'll be 8.
Oh, that's probably what the 8 one's going to be. It's just going to be Jericho
Mania.
The Ocho.
Ocho Ocean. I don't know. Anyway, we gotta go. So wherever you are, just enjoy wrestling. Ahoy, mateys.